What is up, college sports fans, fellow members of Mountaineer Nation? This is Coos, and welcome to a Coos' Corner college football live stream. I see we've already got some people in here. I really appreciate it. Before I get started, I want to James Hurley, thanks for popping in. He says there is no rivalry. There never was a rivalry, and there will never be a rivalry. For the most part, rivalries between the two Eagles. But anyway, you see, I got the promo code or the very top of the chat. I've got the link to earsgear.com where you can go and purchase your Mountaineer gear, your T-shirts and whatnot. Use promo code COOZ in all caps, COUZ, get 20% off of your purchase. This show, what's up, John Kelly? This show, I'm going to be joined by a very entertaining and very active. I don't know what you call it, tweeter, I guess, named Herd Hater, and he will be joining me to. There's been a debate going on Twitter. I think a Marshall fan started actually. Should Marshall and West Virginia play each other in football? And I did a video on it, obviously, and the debate has still going on. Well, this Herd Hater, obviously by the name, is not a fan of Marshall University, and he loves to talk trash about them. And you know what? It would be fun. He offered to come on my show. I thought it would be pretty fun to get him on here. I thought, why not, man? Let's get Herd Hater on here. And so he's going to be joining me by phone shortly. Before we do that, I'll ask that you please subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. Please, as you're coming on this live stream, hit that thumbs up button for me. I would really appreciate it. What that does, it helps that YouTube algorithm and gets this video noticed more, and we'll get it pushed out to more people, so that we can get a bigger audience on here to hear what Herd Hater has to say. And also, I've got my PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, any of that if you want to donate and tip your server who's serving up this college sports content. If you want to tip me, just search Coos' Corner on any of those three platforms, and you can find me there. What's up, Gamecock Chuck? And then obviously you can do the Ears Gear purchase. That helps me as well. And remember to use the promo code COOZ, capital COUZ, all caps, 20% off your purchase. But without further ado, we're doing this by telephone. So I'm going to give Herd Hater a call, and let's get this baby rolling.
What you say, CC?
HH, what's up?
Hey, I'm just getting ready for your show. I'm all excited. We're ready to rock and roll.
We're ready to roll, man. Hey, I want to I kind of introduced, I told everybody kind of what spurred this on is I think it was a Marshall fan really, or somebody associated with Marshall that put a tweet out the other day. Should Marshall and West Virginia play each other again? And of course, our good friend over at Ears Nation kind of retweeted it, and it's got some of us Mountaineer fans talking and a few Marshall fans, what few there are. Sorry, I had to throw some shade at little brother. But anyway, and I got to thinking, it made me want to do a video about it, which I did. And I really appreciate you retweeting that video, by the way. But
I loved every second.
But you are obviously your name's Herd Hater. So on Twitter, by the way, guys, check him out on Twitter at Herd Hater. But anyway, his tweets are very amusing. But so I thought, what better person to bring on here to talk about the Marshall-West Virginia rivalry and why it should not be played than you? So,
well,
I'll let you roll with it.
All right, I appreciate that. First off, I got to know: are you related to Robert Walker?
No, I am not.
You know he was from Huntington, don't you?
I did. Yeah, I did know that.
Yeah. How did he get out of Huntington up there to run over them Hurricanes?
I don't know, but man, we get a lot of players out of Huntington that come up to Morgantown, actually.
Yeah, you got four of my boys that I won't mention, but two of them are on the offensive line, and a third one coming as a tight end, and there's another one that's going to do some super stuff. But I typically get them in trouble with their parents because their parents, prior to them coming to West Virginia, were all Marshall fans.
Wow.
Yeah, that used to make fun of me for wearing my West Virginia hat every day of the week since 1981. But yeah, the rivalry from Huntington West, 100% of Marshall people hate West Virginia. One, the football program, basketball program, of course, but they're also state haters. They hate their own state. Like, if you go on Marshall's website, sports, they abbreviate WV, W.VA. They won't put the WV because of the flying WV. Ears Nation and I were talking about the state flag, I don't know, about 2013, 14, 10, I can't remember. I said, listen, dude, if we don't get a flag to Shane Lines, Marshall runs out that state flag, we're doomed.
Yeah.
And the first game against Georgia Southern, big Sun Belt team that Marshall's going to get beat by, they came out with the state flag. But the thing that kills Marshall people down here is they think that all the money from Charleston goes to Morgantown, and that Morgantown or that Charleston gives Marshall no money. That's their number one thing.
Okay.
All right, so then you look it up, and Marshall's budget is 50% from Charleston. West Virginia's budget is 4%. And they don't like that. They don't like to deal with truth, logic, or facts.
Mm-hmm.
They live in what I call a false equivalency world.
Gotcha.
You know how Marshall people do it? They'll say, well, we beat Bowling Green, and Bowling Green beat Alabama, therefore we beat Alabama.
Yeah.
So they have that fractured logic. But I'm the herd hater because Huntington made me that way.
Yeah.
Growing up as a kid, you know, there wasn't a lot of West Virginia coverage in 1978, 79. I didn't see the flying WV until about 1980, 81 at a gas station. That's the first hat I ever bought. And I didn't understand why I'm from a pretty big family. They're all Marshall fans, all of them.
Really? So you're an outcast.
Yeah. Yeah, where they filmed the We Are Marshall movie was filmed on my grandfather's property. And I got in a little trouble up there one day. We'll have to save that for an off-the-show story because it's funny, but it's
okay.
It's probably too early for me to tell you all that stuff.
I got you.
But the rivalry part, here's what Marshall wants, and I can sum it up in this and clear the slate. Marshall wants somebody from West Virginia to give them a blue check on Twitter to validate and say they are good. They want to hear somebody that's a West Virginia fan say, oh, man, you're all pretty good. And mean it. Now, most people they know don't mean it. Marshall's never been validated as a football team.
Mm-hmm.
They've won 2 fake championships, but they've lost 4. That's a losing record. They've won the GMAC Bowl 18 times under 14 different names. There's no validation. Nothing they've accomplished as a standpoint on the football field with victories. You can pick out any victory, like when they beat Clemson. Clemson's best running back was out of the game. He was hung over, got in trouble, and they put him in jail for a night, so he didn't play. Marshall wins 13-10. Same way with Kansas State and Huntington. Kansas State running back, I forget, he was in the NFL. They left him back home on the bus. He didn't play. Marshall, every victory Marshall's ever had of any magnitude, there's a nugget they leave out that the herd hater finds and attacks on. But that's basically you can sum it all up. They want to play West Virginia football. They say they don't, but they do. Then there's some that say they do. They want to play every year until they get that one victory. They just want one. Mm-hmm. And when they get that one victory, it's uh-oh-ville for West Virginia fans.
Yeah.
Because if they got that one, you'll be hearing that until the year 3030 about that one victory. So I asked UCC, and I'll let you take over, and I'll shut my mouth because I talk too much.
No, that's fine. That's why I brought you on, man.
All right.
So you're from. So you live in Huntington. Have you always been a West Virginia fan, or have you ever been a Marshall fan?
Well, I've never been a Marshall. I went to all Marshall football games because it was 5 miles from my house.
Right.
Went to every basketball game. I didn't have a favorite team per se. I love the state of West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
I love all that stuff. But when I walked into Super America in 1980 or 81, and they had the old trucker hat for sale, I've still got. I'll send you a picture later. The hat cost $2.99, and it's my most prized possession of West Virginia stuff I've got.
Cool.
I sent you a little video of my office.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like your office. It's really cool. But let me ask you this. I ask every Mountaineer fan this.
Right.
What if we would have lost in 2010?
Mm-hmm.
Would you still call him little brother? Would you still call him family? Would you still you did a good job? Really?
No, probably not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Any Mountaineer fan thinks, come down here in Huntington and listen to what they say about our fans, our team, our school, our state. I mean, it's insanity. They hate everything WV, from geographically to the people of West Virginia to the team that represents the state. They can't stand it.
Then why are they here?
Well,
you know what I mean? That's a hypothetical question, obviously, but I don't understand.
What's kind of funny is there's a congressman over in Kentucky that I had his kids and coached them, and I said, "Is there any way y'all can buy Canova to Huntington? Just let them go to Eastern, call them Eastern Kentucky." And because down here, all you hear is Morgantown, Southern Pennsylvania.
Really?
And I say, you guys are so stupid. You're on a border too. Everybody in West Virginia's on a border somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to say, this was funny. I go to pick up my grandson from school about 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, now he lives in Ohio. All right, so I go over spring day, and I get him out of school, got my West Virginia stuff on. And this guy, no lie, this dude about my age looks at me. He says, "Hey, man, ain't you in the wrong state?" He had a Marshall hat on.
No kidding. Oh, my Lord.
I just looked at him and I thought, I didn't just hear that. We're both standing in Ohio. Marshall, you're not in Ohio.
Yeah.
And he said, "Hey, dude, ain't you in the wrong state?" That's what you're dealing with.
So they don't even consider themselves part of West Virginia.
I don't think he realized he was in Ohio is what I'm saying.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, he had no clue. There's nothing. I wish every Mountaineer fan would come down here where I'm at and just stay a week. Forget that. Stay one day. And if you're not a herd hater at the end of that day, then I question your golden blue blood.
Yeah, I'm not, obviously I don't have direct experience like you do, but I have seen some comments, not really on Twitter as much, but I've seen people post message board stuff, like screenshots of stuff on social media from Marshall message boards and stuff, and they absolutely trash. I mean, they talk pure trash about West Virginia's football team. And I'm thinking, we're 12-0 against you. I mean, I don't know how. I mean, that don't
count.
I don't get it. I mean, we even, like I put on my Twitter, which I've not seen any Marshall fan respond to, by the way. I said, because they were talking about, they were giving some excuse as to why we always beat them. And I said, the best team you ever had was when Randy Moss and Chad Pennington was there. You played us that year, 97, I think it was. We didn't. It wasn't our best team. I mean, I think we had a winning record that year, but we weren't great. And we still beat them.
No Noel Devine.
No.
Open Schmidt.
But we still beat them.
Open Schmidt, I told you. I hope you're listening. No, by any means. But see, that's the thing. Now you're correct. We beat Marshall's greatest team and greatest player. You want to make a Marshall fan stutter? Ask how Randy Moss ended up at Marshall. I'll hang up and listen.
I hear you.
They leave that part out.
Yeah.
They totally leave it out. And then we beat John Elmore and the greatest Marshall team to win the only game in the NCAA basketball team. We threw up 100 on them.
Yep. Blew them out.
Yeah, we should have been worse.
Yep.
But you cannot reason, you cannot use logic, and you cannot use understanding with any of them. I don't know one, and I probably know thousands of Marshall fans. They have this one common trait that's amongst every one of them. They all have a second, third, fourth, or fifth backup team. So when Marshall plays in the 1AA Sun Belt this year, and they get beat by Georgia State, they'll turn it over to the Notre Dame game. I don't know who Marshall's going to be rooting for in the Notre Dame Marshall game this year. They're all Notre Dame fans. Then, and in basketball,
yeah,
Kentucky. Now you got some that are Ohio State football and basketball.
Right.
I do not know one Marshall person that is Marshall only. That is a fact. They all have their little mental crutch to say, ooh, that way when Marshall does whatever and don't mean nothing, then they can say, hey, look, we got Kentucky or we got Duke or North Carolina or Ohio State. They have so many backup teams, I can't even keep up with it.
Yeah.
I saw a guy at the mall one day buy an Alabama hat and a Marshall hat. This was about 2 years ago. And I'm thinking, it's unbelievable. The craziest thing I ever saw in Huntington, it was in 1991. Florida State won the national championship, 91, 92, somewhere in there. And a company down here made T-shirts that said, "Your national champions, Marshall and Florida State." But they didn't put on there your national champions and your 1AA national champions. They left that part off.
No kidding.
And that's what that false equivalency. They talk that we're the middle of the pack Big 12 team. I'd rather be in the Big 12 and lose every game than to be in the Sun Belt, which is a step down from Conference USA, and win every game. There's no way I want to play in that division.
Yeah. I got a commenter that says HBAR Farkle. I hope I pronounced that right. Says, I went to both Marshall and WVU, and I don't agree that everyone in Huntington hates West Virginia or hates WVU. I mean, he said he don't agree that.
What?
He said he doesn't agree that everybody in Huntington hates WVU.
Well, just tell him to put a list, send you a blind list. I challenge him to 3 names, and I'll probably know them on that list. And there's no way. I'm 56 years old.
He says he was there in 1970 when the plane crashed, and WVU was very helpful.
Now, that is true. And when I was 5 years old, that crash happened within a half a mile of my house. And it was unbelievable. I didn't know what was going on, didn't understand. I remember a lot of, it was horrible. But my dad got me in the car. We drove out to the site. He knew the people at the fire stations at both Canova and Cerrito. And they had to move us on down past the Pilgrim Glass to get out, that they knew something tragic had happened. Then there's a gentleman that gave the memorial speech a few years ago that I was very good friends with, or I still am, that my grandparents did not get on the plane, and his grandparents did.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and they were neighbors from my hometown.
Wow.
I have the most honorable for what happened to that tragedy.
Oh yeah, I think we all do. I mean, obviously you're closer. I was, number one, I wasn't born yet, but 2, I don't live in the area, but I think most of us have seen the movie. Most of us knew what happened.
Right. They still, after that 2010 game, man, I'll tell you what, it got ugly. It got ugly in Huntington, especially
really?
on my block. Yeah.
Wow.
I had police all around my house. I mean, it was crazy. Because they all knew where I lived, and they was winning 21-10.
Yeah. Right.
And it got, I mean, nutsoville.
Hey, question for you. I got a question here on my chat. They're trying to remember who was the defensive back for what was Pac-Man playing for West Virginia? He wasn't playing for West Virginia in '97, was he? Was it Aaron Beasley maybe?
Yeah, that's Beasley.
Okay, because Pac-Man was later. I'm thinking he was like 03,
yeah.
04.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
He had Steele on that team, Bulger. Who was our wide receiver? I just remember Steele and Bulger.
Right.
But if you look at that on YouTube, and you see the crowd of Marshall people, I would say 10,000 of it was from my home area, at least. Yeah. And I probably knew 9,000 of them. And I saw them all on TV, and of course, before they all left, they all told me they were going to kill us and all this stuff. And we was up 21-0 on them before they blink an eye. And then we let off the gas, and Moss caught the pass, went up. And then they all started going bonkers, and then we came back and won. Funny story on Moss. I used to hang out at his frat house all the time as a young herd hater. And he wasn't there. So a friend of mine takes me up, shows me his room and stuff and all of his trophies. And there's this one trophy, man, it's about 5 foot tall, 4 foot tall. He hands it to me, and that's it. And it was Southern Conference Athlete of the Year, freshman trophy.
Yeah.
And at the time, my dad was dying of cancer and had been talking to Bob Pruitt a lot on the phone. My dad was a Marshall fan. He hated West Virginia. Before he passed away, we said, well, we want to do something together with each other. What do you want to do? I said, let's go to a WVU game. He said, okay. He said, you have to go to a Marshall game. I stood there for a second. And I said, I can't do it. And he looked at me and he said, I was lying anyway. That's how bad it is.
Yeah, wow.
But one of the football players from Marshall brought that trophy to me to give to him. So I've got Randy Moss's Southern Conference Player of the Year, Athlete of the Year, whatever, freshman trophy stuffed away in my mom's basement somewhere. I haven't seen it in probably 10 years, but I know that I still have it.
Wow.
Ain't that crazy?
That is crazy, being a herd hater.
So, Randy Moss, if you're listening, I got it, and I'll sell it to you for a nice price. But he didn't want it. That's what I was told. He didn't even want it.
Yeah. Well, and I have no animosity towards Randy Moss. He's actually seems like he's grown up and become a pretty mature dude. And I heard he's done a lot for charities and stuff in West Virginia, but whether that's true or not, I don't know.
Well, that's for sure. I give him hell just because he's a Marshall person.
I agree.
But I was at the state tournament when he played with Jason Williams. Opening tip. Moss tips it backwards to Williams, runs the length of the half court for a half court alley-oop dunk.
Oh, my gosh.
Off the set play. They got beat by Hedgesville. They should have never lost that game, but they did. But it was the most pretty basketball play that I'd ever seen. But it was unbelievable to watch what type of athlete that he was and that he is. But he blocked me one time when I put hey, Randy, you lost both your Super Bowls in '97, and you also cost the Patriots a perfect season. And he blocked me. That's about as far as I go with it.
Yeah, I got it, man. I mean, trash talk. I mean, trash talk's, man. Trash talk's trash talk. It's part of it. It's fun, and it's cool to hate on the. I don't even want to call them a rival, but it's fun to hate on the other team.
They can't be a rival. I mean, there's a watershed at some point. They ain't on our mountaintop, just like we ain't on Alabama's mountaintop.
Right.
Marshall thinks they're with Alabama and everybody.
Right.
And I don't care if Georgia wins it for 100 years in a row. Alabama's going to be the standard for the rest of our lifetime.
Yeah.
But I was going to give you a couple funny little facts.
Yeah, go ahead.
Marshall University has lost to 8 high schools in football.
No, that's actually true. Now, how, explain that to me.
Well, when Marshall was, before they were, they were still Marshall. They were called a normal school. What's the chances of that?
Mm-hmm.
And it just meant teacher school.
Gotcha.
So these games that they go back and play were just basically just, hey, go get your beer buddies and go fight it out on some field somewhere. But Marshall has this on their home site. I wanted to go back over it again because it's kind of funny. They tied Catlettsburg Junior High 0-0. They lost to Portsmouth, Wheeling, Ironton, Huntington High, Kingsbury. I don't even know where that's at. Ashland, Kentucky. Then they lost to Catlettsburg, Kentucky, and then they lost to Charleston. And what's funny about that is they played a town called Canova. That's where I'm from.
Right.
I'm from the dump called City of Canova.
Mm-hmm.
And Marshall played a road game in Canova, West Virginia, which is right on the border with the Big Sandy River and the Ohio River and Kentucky.
Right.
And it was a one-and-done deal. You know how Marshall wants a one-for-one, a home and away?
Yeah.
In 1915, they were willing to go on the road to play the dump of the state of West Virginia, Canova, West Virginia, and Canova didn't have to give them a return home game. So what y'all crying about?
Yeah, really. Holy crap. That's funny.
It is hilarious. It's beyond hilarious. Let me ask you this question. Would you play a series of football games, and whoever's listening, and I hope, Owen, you're listening. I told a bunch of my guys to be listening, even a couple of Marshall ex-basketball players. But would you be willing, say it was a 7-game series, that the winner of that series continued to play football and the loser had to drop football? Would you be willing to put that on the line against Marshall?
Best in a 7 series, like 7 seasons or 7 games in one season?
Just 7 games, whenever. I don't care if it's 21 games. Any number of games. Yeah. And I always tell them all the time, if you want a one and done, loser goes home, shuts down the school in sports.
Yeah.
See, Marshall don't have no skin in the game.
Well,
they lose to us. They just move on down the line to Furman.
Right. Well, that's why I said in my video, that's why West Virginia is not going to do it. They would, number one, they would lose money to do it.
Oh yeah.
2, if they would screw up and lose the game, which I don't think they would, but if they did, which is possible. I mean, teams have bad days, right?
Yeah.
It would ruin their whole season. So,
I go farther than that. It would ruin the program. How do you get past a loss? I don't care where you lose to Marshall at. How do you get past it? And they'll never let it go. That's why you can't give them a second to breathe. That's why I never stopped.
Yeah.
I mean, if I give up, if there was no me, nobody would know how horrible that. Or I don't know if it's jealousy or just whatever it is. But the hate that they have, I just match it. And I tell all West Virginia fans that love them, I said, listen, I want all the hate for myself.
Yeah.
I'll hate them for you. Because they just don't know. The propaganda that's down here, I'm telling you, if West Virginia fans were down here and they heard all this stuff with Marshall, it would be all out war.
Yeah.
And Marshall, I'm sorry, but you're outnumbered.
Yeah, it's funny. You ever seen the map? I don't know if it's ESPN or somebody puts up that shows the whole state's covered in gold except one little tiny dot of green right there in Huntington.
I'll be honest with you, there's not a lot of West Virginia fans down here. I would say there's somewhere between 1 and maybe, if you're pushing it, 3,000. There's only 40,000 people in Huntington.
Right.
That's it. You got to think Marshall becoming university in 1961. It had 85,000 people in that city. Then Marshall opens their doors, and now half the city's gone.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. So from the time started ticking in 1961 to 2000, whatever this year, 2022, half the people said, "The hell with it," and got out.
Yeah.
Where'd they go?
I don't know.
I'm sure they picked up another favorite team wherever they are.
Do you ever get any? I'm sure you get hate from people on Twitter, but what's the most interesting? I guess back and forth you've had with a Marshall fan on or a Marshall person on Twitter.
I'll be honest with you. I got a phone call one night from a guy in West Virginia. You know, he's threatening to do this and threatening to do that. So I just picked the phone back up and called him. I said, "Dude, you left a voicemail, and I put it on Twitter, and I put your phone number. Good luck." And they hammered that poor kid. He called me, I don't know, 2 or 3 days later and begged me to quit asking people to call. And so I tell you what, if you follow me, if you ever unfollow @HerdHater, your phone number will go back out. So that was a weird one.
Yeah.
But the craziest one I ever got was the city of Huntington. I hope you're listening, Huntington. Y'all know who you are. The mayor of Huntington calls me at 2 o'clock in the morning and says, "I'm going to send my chief of police to arrest you." And I said, "For what?" He said, "Tweets." I said, "What'd I say?" I said, "Y'all suck? Do you suck?" "Yes." "Are y'all terrible?" "Yes." And this went on. I was trying to have fun with him. Boy, he wouldn't let up.
Yeah.
What he didn't know was I coached the chief of police sons in basketball.
Yeah.
So he comes to my house. I said, does he think he's going to arrest me?" He said, "Yes. Just don't pay no attention to him." So the phone rings at 5 a.m. And he calls me back. "You know who you are, Mr. Mayor." He said, "My attorneys have told me never to speak to you again." Click.
Wow.
That's the funniest one I ever got.
Oh my gosh. What did he ever specify what the tweet said that he was going to arrest you for?
No, he just said that I was putting out I don't know, some not nasty tweets, but
offensive or
no, not offensive, degrading tweets. I think that's what he said. Degrading. Yeah, I was degrading. Yeah, I was calling you 1AA and FCS, and you ain't never beat us, and da-da-da-da-da.
Isn't that called trash talk? I mean, isn't that pretty much all that is? That's all it is to me. I mean.
But here's the thing. What's a mayor doing up in the middle of the night looking at a Twitter account and then get my number?
Yeah, really.
You know, this is funny. In a social class, some type of social something in Marshall, I had a basketball player was in a class. They were studying the HerdHater Twitter account in Marshall. I'm not kidding. And now he teaches school somewhere in West Virginia. He's doing very well. He's got 3 kids. But if I told you where he was, they'd fire him on the spot. Yeah. He told me that.
Yeah, I wouldn't, and I wouldn't ask you to do that. But you do have I did notice you do have over 7,000 followers on Twitter, dude.
Well, they're just as crazy as I am. I mean, that's just crazy people. When I started out, had it not been for our friend Ears Nation, and with the help of a lot of, I tell you, who I don't really get along with is I don't get along with our so-called WVU elites. You know, I don't understand how there's a big disconnect between you and I, the fan, and the people who so-called call the shots and, you know, do things.
Yeah.
And I've talked to not a lot of them, but a few. And it's so disappointing when I hear arrogance in their voice for no reason.
Well, I've had other people tell me similar things. People that I don't know personally, but that I've talked to in private on social media, have told me things like, you know, of course, I never know whether to believe people because I don't know them. I mean, heck, I don't even know you, right. But I'm just taking what you were. I'm taking you at your word. But I've had people tell me that there's a lot of things that goes on in the like the board level and things like that people wouldn't believe, and in the AD offices and just corruption and all kinds of stuff. So I don't know, man. I don't know if I believe any of that, but it's very possible, I guess.
No, well, I would say that's just across the board, every school. I mean, you got to think in 2005, Marshall was paying football players $500 to mow a parking lot. No grass.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah. So they go over with the lawnmower and they're just running across the parking lot.
Jeez. That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew two of them. I said, you got a line. There's no way you're doing this. I drove up there and watched them. They mowed a parking lot of concrete. No, actually, it was blacktop, if you want to be specific.
Right.
But the stuff that Marshall does and the stuff that their fans do is they hate the Orange Bowl. They hate the Fiesta Bowl. They hate the Gator Bowl. They hate the Sugar Bowl. They hate the Coal Bowl. They can't stand it. They hate the Final Four, the Elite Eights, the Sweet 16s. And I don't know why. If you're a fan of West Virginia, born in West Virginia, work in West Virginia, live in West Virginia, or even if you ain't from West Virginia, you just like a song Country Roads.
Yeah.
We need every fan we can get.
Yeah.
Because, I looked at it yesterday of the top 25 for this upcoming year, none of them had the state name. You see, I was at Ohio State a couple of days ago, and I was giving him a little bit down the road. It was making fun of the way I talk. That's typical Marshall people. He talks funny. Well, who in West Virginia don't have an accent?
Yeah, really, no kidding.
Yeah. So
like they're from California or somewhere.
California. Yeah. I see y'all from California. I forgot how. Okay, you speak clean English, but they were doing the OHIO thing. And I said, well, you left out a word, boys. You should say OHIOSTATE. He said, we're not Ohio. They were totally confused. I said, if the herd hater had been born in Ohio, I'd have been a Bobcat fan. I go with the state name. State flag. Yeah, Oklahoma State, I call them Oklahoma fake. Anything Michigan State, Michigan fake. Anything with Tech or whatever in it, that don't count.
Yeah, I got you.
It's Texas, it's West Virginia, it's Oklahoma. It's this Florida. My birth certificate says West Virginia. It sure as hell don't say Marshall.
Yep.
And even Marshall peoples don't say Marshall.
Right.
I've asked them, what geographic landmass do you all represent? I'll listen. And they just go,
Yeah, I used to always have this pet peeve about people, and I used to have this pet peeve about people who live in one state and cheer for somebody in another state. Like somebody that's born and raised and lived in West Virginia their whole life, but they're a Virginia Tech fan, for example. I'm like, how can you?
I don't know how you do it.
I don't get it either.
I don't know how you do it.
No, I live in the southern part of West Virginia where, like the tip, where I'm only an hour from Virginia Tech's campus. And I still won't cheer for them. I hate them with a passion.
Yeah,
it makes me vomit to even drive through Blacksburg. I detest them. You know what I mean? I don't detest the individual people that go to school there or play there. I detest the team. You know what I mean?
Well, you hit on something real important, and I call it allegiance. And I pledge allegiance to the West Virginia Mountaineers. I don't root for a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth favorite team. I don't give a crap about pro football. I mean, whatever. I watch it. But, if there was a Marshall fan out there that was Marshall only, I'd love to meet him or her. For them. Who knows? There might be three. There's less than five, I guarantee you that.
Yeah.
That don't go to Kentucky games and Ohio State games and Notre Dame games. You even got them down here rooting for North Carolina. It's crazy what you see.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of people here that will root for Duke in basketball, for example. But they'll root for West Virginia in football, and I think I don't understand. And I actually made a comment one time on Facebook. I was like, "How can somebody that lives in West Virginia cheer for Duke?" Man, people got pissed off at me. And one lady, she said, I root for Duke because I grew up watching games with my dad, so it means something to me.
That's the answer down here.
Well, why did your dad root for Duke? I mean, you know what I mean? Why don't your dad root for West Virginia? Which most of them will tell me though that they root for West Virginia, but
if they're not playing Duke.
Yeah, right.
Oh, wait a minute. We beat them in the tournament. I forgot about that one. And Arizona. So, yeah, but I hear that down here. They'll say, well, I root for Kentucky basketball because I watched it with my dad. And I'll tell my brother, I said, well, I watch the same games with you too. I ain't no Kentucky fan. We had a bet the Final Four night and I'll send you the link on YouTube. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
The loser had to burn its mascot. I had this huge stuffed Mountaineer man. He had a huge stuffed kitty cat. And we got out there and started hitting threes, and, we ended up winning. And I watched him burn a 1959 hat that was given to him by one of his friends. It's one of only 100.
Yeah.
He had to burn that thing. Oh, it's so funny. But, yeah, I don't get – the thing I don't understand about Marshall is how do you hate your state?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Well,
how do you if West Virginia wins and makes more money, you all get more money. And see, that's the thing. I told you earlier. The biggest complaint you hear from Marshall fan is all the money goes to Morgantown. Yeah. It's not true. It's not even close to being true.
Especially now that the governor's a Marshall alumni. Crying out loud.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised we're not playing with him being. I really thought when he got in that we would play them.
Yeah.
Which is fine if they'll do it. Loser goes home and drops football. You got to have something to lose. If you don't go to a poker table and say, "Here, I got some wooden chips. I don't have any cash on me."
Right.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
The greatest thing is you putting that topic out has got all. Well, I know there's 55. All 54 counties talking, and they're all hitting, and for me to catch it, and I know that the hunting people have seen it because I spoke to one guy that played basketball for Marshall, and if you're out there listening, Mr. Marshall man, and I know you are, because he thinks one day that somebody's going to kill me. And they might. I don't know. Who knows? Things happen crazy. No, that ain't going to happen. But I do really believe that they're so over the top with it.
Yeah.
You live in a border area too with Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
But Virginia Tech and Marshall, they're apples and oranges. We want to play Virginia Tech.
Right, absolutely. And Penn State.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Do you want to really play Sunbelt teams? I mean, do we want that?
Not on the road. If they'll come to Morgantown, I'll play them.
Yeah, and I've told them all the time. Why not take your shot?
Yeah.
Who knows? What do you got to lose by coming up here 100 times in a row? They won't take it. They think that it's apples and apples.
Right.
And you'll never convince them any different because I've been trying since 1982, 83. And they have not changed. The parent passes it to the kid passes it to the grandparent. You wouldn't believe how many people. That's why in my neck of the woods, I don't even go over no more. Because all I do is argue with people. If I go to Taco Bell and sit down, it's an argument.
I bet they hate Bob Huggins, don't they? Because of what he said about he got into a little bit of a.
I don't know if enough of them know that quote. I send that quote out quite often on my Twitter account where he said Division I, Division II, Division III school.
Yeah.
Basketball.
Yeah.
I don't think they know. I've never had anybody say it, but I don't know what they think. The big thing is it's just how can we kill the flying WV? That's their goal.
Yeah. They want to be.
We got a cool logo.
They want to be the big dog.
Yeah. It ain't going to happen.
I got you.
How do you go from 80,000 people to 40,000? You think you're going to be bigger than West Virginia? I don't know how that math works out.
It doesn't, does it?
The Marshall people are jumping. They're jumping ship.
Let me ask you this: what was their opinion of Doc Holliday as a fan base?
About half of them didn't want him to go. Half of them were indifferent. They love their new coach.
They do.
I mean, they're excited for him.
Yeah. Well, I honestly, I do think they got a good one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But he won't be there long.
Go ahead.
He's not going to be there long. He'll end up getting a Power 5 job at some point, probably.
Well, I done told Clint Trickett, if he's the head coach of Marshall or assistant coach of Marshall, I hate your guts. I told him that on Twitter. So once a turd, always a turd in my book.
Ali, you're hardcore, man.
Well, you have to be down here. You got to be cast iron steel, man. You can't take it.
Wow.
Jared Parker, I coached him in basketball.
No kidding.
Not like a basketball coach, but he worked out with me.
Mm-hmm.
And his wife's wonderful. He was he's a tough dude.
Yeah. I think the players liked him, honestly.
What's that?
I think the players at West Virginia really liked him.
Oh, they did.
And hated to see him leave.
Everyone that I talked to, yeah. And I said, well, listen. My only problem was when he got hired at West Virginia is I didn't want no Marshall coaches. And the same way when we got Bill Stewart, I didn't want him. And then we had Bill Legg. I didn't want him. I just don't want nobody from Marshall up here tainting anything.
Well, what about Trickett? Since he's a West Virginia alum, is that different?
That's splitting hairs for me. I mean, right now he's on the wrong side of the firing line.
I hear you. Oh, I hear you.
I mean, it'd be difficult because you remember Jeff Mullen?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And in 2010, Jeff Mullen spent the whole summer and gave them our whole playbook. And we all know what happened in 2010.
Gave him our whole playbook.
Yeah, he was down here in Huntington running the Marshall's defense and everything, and offense. Jeff Mullen, we fired him. Bill Stewart had to let him go. He's hired by Marshall.
I didn't know that.
2009, 2010, we played him on September the 10th, 2010.
I remember the game. I just didn't. I was thinking Jeff Mullen. I thought Jeff Mullen was our coordinator then. Was he not?
No. Mm-mm. He gave Marshall everything. He left the year prior to that.
Okay.
No, we hated Jeff Mullen. Matter of fact, I had a hat that just I had it embroidered. I hate Jeff Mullen. But yeah, he gave over everything. He ruined Noel Devine. And Noel, if you're listening, I'd get me an attorney and sue him for damages done.
Yeah, he was bad,
you can't
man.
tell me Noel Devine's not NFL.
He was bad. Jeff Mullen was bad. And Bill Stewart hired somebody. He had no experience, man, as a play caller. And when
Pat White endorsed him, there was no way they were going to turn around.
Yeah, I mean, I love Bill Stewart. I mean, he was a great dude, great ambassador for West Virginia. I just don't think he was D1. I just don't think he was BCS at the time, coach material, you know.
Well, I hold against him as Marshall. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah,
I just think there's something about that.
Did he work there at one time?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the Marshall boys at West Virginia.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And so, like when Doc Holliday left and went to Marshall, you know, everybody would talk about him being a great recruiter and all this and all that. And I said, he's dead to me now, boys.
Yeah.
But you know, so Doc had it all set up. They put all their eggs in one basket for that 2010 game. We were ambushed. I mean, ambushed. And if you look at that field goal where Marshall missed the field goal, the reason why they missed it is because those idiots had the field goal tilting to the field goal kicker's left. It was off center. And the reason why was most of his kicks would go wide left. So this time he missed it. It would have gone through had they been straight. Watch it on YouTube. Watch it on my account. Had they not tried to cheat for the kicker, both the end zones, you would look at both the end zones of that game, they were tilted to the left, and he missed it to the right.
That's funny.
Or my life would have been over. I already had the cops at my house that night.
Oh, my Lord.
I mean, 3 or 4 of them.
Dude, I don't know why. I'm surprised you haven't moved.
Well, I'm out of the Huntington area per se.
Oh, okay.
I'm not down out in like where I was.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, and I'm not going to ask you to tell us where you live.
I get it wherever I go. Yeah, I mean, wherever I'm at,
Well,
but hey, listen, I enjoy it. I love it because they hate me, I hate them, and it's fun.
Yeah. Well, it is if it's all done, But when people start coming to your house and trying to threaten you, that's taking it a little bit too far there.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, that's called doxing. That's a federal offense.
Yeah.
I mean, what if the mayor of Morgantown called a Marshall fan and said they're going to throw him in jail with his chief of police? And what's the chances?
Yeah, that's a crazy story, man. Over a tweet.
It's crazy, ain't it?
Over tweets.
But there's a lot more to tell. You have to save it
That's fine.
For another time.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the opportunity to come on.
Absolutely. I appreciate you.
And I'll tell you all the good stuff off the air.
Okay.
But I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely.
And I'll shout out all your stuff for you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
And I already signed up for you on YouTube. I'm a big YouTuber. I watch a lot, but I don't go on. I mean, I watch, but like when you and I talk, there's no way I want to have somebody have to look at my ugly face.
Okay.
But CC, it's great to talk. The Herd Haters, great to talk with you.
Yeah, man.
And let's stay in touch, and let's both thank Ears Nation for helping us both out.
Absolutely, man. And it's good to have you on, and I enjoyed it.
All right. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was entertaining. Pretty cool stories. Somebody that lives in the heart of Marshall country. What's up, Blue? Crypt Keeper. If you guys want to make sure I see your chat, you can hit the $sign and then type in your comment, and it'll and donate, and then it'll pop up and pop to the top of the chat. Also supports my channel, but that was fun. I just thought it'd be a little different, John. I was going to do this live stream tonight, and then Herd Hater offered to come on, and I thought, you know what, let's do it, something different. But I did want to touch real quick on, I guess you guys saw where Chris Henry's son, the late and great Chris Henry, former West Virginia receiver, his son, who's an 8th grader, just received an offer from West Virginia. Did you guys see that on the news or online? That's pretty cool stuff. And he's actually going to live with Pac-Man Jones. Pac-Man Jones is basically I guess you could say, adopted Chris Henry's kids because they were really close friends. So he's kind of, he's kind of taking them under his wing and helping take care of them and stuff. And I thought that was pretty cool. I think Pac-Man Jones is actually a pretty good dude, man. He just he's made some bad decisions in his life, but you know what? We all have at some point, most of us anyway. So he seems like he's grown up and trying to make things right and be a good citizen and help other people. And I appreciate that. Actually, I respect somebody that's able to turn their life around. Hooday, there you go, Crypt Keeper. But I respect somebody that's. I really like redemption stories, man. Those are my favorites. People that are, made some mistakes and was on the wrong path, and then they turn their life around and for the better. I would kind of put Randy Moss. Randy Moss wasn't really. He was kind of like that. I mean, he was that close to losing his chance to play college football and go to the NFL. And were it not for Marshall, he would have lost it. and to see where he's at today. I just like those kind of stories, especially when it has some connection to either the state of West Virginia or WVU, one or the other. But anyway, if you guys got any questions or anything you want to talk about, if not, we can cut this thing short. But I heard Hader was. I thought he was pretty entertaining. If y'all get a chance, go check him out on Twitter. He puts out some very entertaining tweets, to say the least. By the way, I want to ask you guys if there's anybody out here that hasn't subscribed to the Mark Rogers West Virginia channel yet, please go do that. It's separate from Mark's regular channel, The Voice of College Football. He's got separate channels. He's got his main channel, and then he's got individual channels of different teams. So it's its own channel, but you've got to go subscribe. Joey, do you have the link to the Mark Rogers channel? If you do, pop it in the chat. Because I don't have it. Joey, I think's got it. No, Joey, I did not see that. That is interesting. Huh. I wonder why they would give it up. That's kind of crazy that they would do that. That's weird. I'll see if I can find a link to that, guys, real quick while we're talking here. But that right there goes to show you they're not going to the Big Ten, I don't reckon. Because that's a requirement. It's definitely a requirement. I think I got it here, guys. Bear with me just a second. Share. Copy. Paste. There's a link, guys. Go. That's a link to a specific video in that channel, I think. At least I think it is. Let me make sure I give you the right link here. Hold on. No, that wasn't it. That was Golden Blue Dude. Holy cow. My bad. Wrong link, guys. You can subscribe to him too. But I think most of you already are. You know, that's Mountain KSR. That's interesting. I wonder if they are. I've always wondered if Gordon Gee is pursuing AAU status. It would be really cool if they did. I'd love to. Hey, man, I know Golden Blue do something about the ACC. I would love for West Virginia to get into Big Ten, man. That would be really, really get that Big Ten money flowing. I'm telling you, man. I think we could compete. I think it will take us a few years, but heck, I don't know. I think we can compete from the beginning. I mean, heck, we're already better than a lot of the teams in the Big Ten now. Daniels will be coming. I think he's enrolling in June. Yeah, I think it's in June. He's actually still enrolled at Georgia, and he finishes up in Georgia in May, and he'll graduate. And then when he graduates, he can enroll. I don't think he can enroll at West Virginia until he's finished his degree at Georgia, is my understanding. I think I may actually have the right channel this time, guys. We need to get these subscriber numbers up. Well, forget it. I can't get the link to pull up. But yeah. But if you Google Mark Roger or Google here, I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna show you what to Google, guys. Voice of CFB, West Virginia. You Google that, you'll come up. Just make sure Golden Blue Dude's got a couple videos that kind of have that in the title. So make sure you're clicking on the Mark Rogers channel and not the Golden Blue Dude channel. Unless you're, heck, if you're not subscribed to him, subscribe to him too. But I can pull it up, Joey, but it won't let me copy it. There's nowhere to copy the link. Kind of weird. Like I could pull a video up, but there's nowhere to. Here we go. Copy link address. I think this will do it. Maybe. I think that's it. I think that's the link right there, guys. But anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, spring. Oh, and I heard John asked about the spring game. I'm gonna have to record it. I'm actually going out of town this weekend, so won't be able to watch it as live. I'm going to try to record, DVR it. Well, actually, I can. It's on ESPN Plus, but I can go. ESPN Plus allows you to go back and watch it later, I think. So I'll catch the replay of it because I do want to watch it because I'll probably do a video. I'll be straight up honest with you guys. I normally don't watch the spring game on TV. It's usually boring. I ain't gonna lie. But this year I'm looking more forward to it because they're actually going to play a real game, and also, just like Oklahoma, they're not playing two-hand touch. But anyway, I thought that was in Lincoln Riley's lost his marbles. But anyway, I'm interested this year because I want to see how these quarterbacks do. I'm interested to see how Garrett Green and Goose Crowder and especially Nico. I'm anxious to see how those guys look. And also, I want to see how Jordan Jefferson's looking on that defensive line because he's going to be replacing Mesidor. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think we're going to miss Akeem Mesidor. I know he was a great player, but I think our defensive line is going to be just fine without him. Yeah, Crib Keeper, we will, man, one of these days. I hope to. I'm hoping to do a live stream one day at a game and meet a lot of you folks on here. It'd be cool to meet my subscribers in person. Skyline Chili, you bring that Skyline Chili. I've heard that stuff is delicious, man. I need to try some. What is Crib Keeper? What is so special about Skyline Chili? What's the secret, man? Do you know? What makes it so good? I'm real lighter on the couch. There you go, Joey. I'm with you, man. Gonna love to see the new plays on offense and the speed and blocking schemes. Yeah, John, I'll be honest. They're probably not going to run anything. They're going to keep it pretty vanilla, I would imagine. I do too, Alan. I think one of them will transfer too. Probably at least one. I think they'll keep the offense vanilla, John, because they're not going to want any competitors seeing what they run. So they'll probably keep it pretty simple. But it'll still be good to see. You'll still be able to get a kind of a glimpse of what the new offense is going to look like, and that'll be exciting. I hate that I'm going to miss it, but I am going to be at I'm going to a concert, so I'm going to be. My wife and I are going with some other couples. They put cinnamon in the chili. Holy crap! I bet that's delicious. Oh my gosh! I've got to have Skyline Chili, guys. Chocolate and cinnamon, two of my favorite things. Holy guacamole. Now I'm going to have to travel to Cincinnati just to get Skyline Chili. Hey, Crypt Keeper, do they sell Skyline Chili in Columbus, Ohio too, or do you know? Because that's where I'm going Saturday for this concert. Heard we were going after lineman into yes, we are. There's a D lineman transfer from Georgia Tech that they're going after. John, that's correct. Joey says it's disgusting. Gamecock Chuck, I'm hoping to make it up to the WVU game if things work out. Man, that'd be cool if you do, man. Maybe we can I'm gonna try to get to at least one game, maybe two. I'm definitely making an effort to get to the Virginia Tech game because it's so close to my house. My God, it's only an hour away. I don't even have to get a hotel room for that one. But I'm gonna try to get to at least one or two home games this year too. But living in the southern part of West Virginia, those games are a little tricky at times when you got family and stuff, because it's basically a night in a hotel. Because I've driven up and back in a day, but it makes for a long day, man. It's not worth it. I now live in Cincinnati. They have those places all over, and the hot dogs, yes, they probably do there all over Ohio. Okay, they have it in the can at Kroger's. Heck, they probably even have it at Kroger's in West Virginia. I just need to go find it. A meet and greet at the Baylor game. I'm gonna try to get to that game, Joey. I got it on my wish list. To see if we can make it work. And especially this, did y'all know that'll be Neil Brown's first night game since he's been head coach? First night game in Morgantown since he's been head coach. Isn't that crazy? He's been here. He'll have been here 4 years before he gets his first night game. That's nuts to me. But anyway, guys, I've kept y'all on here long enough. I'll be at all the home games. You probably live up near there. Well, I don't want to ask you where you live, but yeah, that'll be cool. I'll tell you, if I live closer to Morgantown, man, I'd buy season tickets. I just living so far away. I mean, I could go to every game, I guess, if I really wanted to, but it's a long, long weekend, man. It's really easy to sit on my comfortable couch in my living room and watch those games instead of driving 3.5 hours, staying in a hotel. It gets expensive, but I love it. Awesome, man. You're going 10 next year. That's great. Thank you, Joey. Something different. I thought Herd Hater would be fun. Hopefully you guys enjoy the stories. Well, listen, guys, I'm hopping off of here. I appreciate everybody jumping on. Look out for the video I'm going to have published tomorrow about is Jamala Dye poaching our players. Got a video coming out about it tomorrow. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. So be on the lookout. Peace out, guys. Let's go Mountaineers, Q Country Roads.